All good instead of me. Awesome. Okay, I'd like to call together the September Estacada Economic Development Commission to order. John, would you call the roll?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Carpenter. Jeff Kirsch. Present. David Cross. Present. Cindy Moore.
Present.
Eric Sale. Present. Scott Stahl. Present. Chair Carpenter, you have a quorum, and we also have Councilor McElroy here too.
All right, and we're fortunate to have him. Thank you for your commitment to this. And excited to get going. Approval of the meeting minutes. Everyone have a chance to take a look at that. Could we get a motion?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Stahl.
Seconded.
Okay, and seconded by Commissioner Cross. Any discussion about the minutes? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries. We're now going to open it up to public comment. Mads or Mr. Lagarza, do we have anybody signed up to speak?
Chair Carpenter, no public comments today.
Okay, sounds good. And then we'll move to the Mount Hood tourism presentation by Lizzie and Jim.
Yes.
Yep, that's on. It is just me, Jim Austin from the Clackamas County Office of Tourism, and logging in and going to share my PowerPoint. Sorry, Lizzie Keenan, our executive director, could not be here today. She had a family matter that she needed to attend to. Our program, and I'll get into this. This presentation was designed to be sort of a tourism 101, who we are, what we do. But I'm on the development side, community relations side of our program. So I'm the lead for that program. And talk amongst yourselves while I coordinate. What is the password?
Yes.
Just a guess.
City
You
Hall
gotta go.
guest.
COE guest.
Yep.
I do see a lock. Chamber audio. Let's see what happens. CEO guest secured inter-network security key. Nope, nope, nope. $5G doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I don't think.
Cindy, I'm gonna send an intro to you too. Today I'm working with someone that might be coming in. Rack Supply Company.
Wonderful.
In there, into the industrial park for the enterprise zone. So
Happy to help.
make a connection.
Absolutely. Thanks for the heads up.
Yep.
I didn't suck. I got what I went for. I was looking for one top 10 finish, and all 6 of those races I ended up with 6 top 10 finishes. So yeah, I hammered it and I was tired. We not much else to say about it. When we got there, I did it.
Those are your brochures.
Yeah, if you'd like to, that'd be great.
Next year I'll get all my.
What's that?
He's talking about. it, right?
No, Scott is a big time cyclist. He flew to Europe and competed in some pretty major races and finished in the top 10 out of 6 out of 10 races, he said?
6 out of 6.
6 out of 6.
6
Wow.
out of 6.
Yeah.
I hung in against some really good competition, so especially for old guys. I mean, those guys can still move. They pushed me to the limit more than one time.
All that. Yeah.
What
that's
part of
super
Europe?
cool.
2 races in England, 2 races in France, and 2 races in Belgium.
Yeah,
And,
it's amazing.
the Belgians were just, oh my God, they had the whole crew there.
Wow.
That was a tough one there, but I ended up doing very well there, and
I
I got a first in England.
Thank you.
Up first.
I took first place in England, coming in lagged because I came in
Like the
and had
video.
8 hours before I raced.
Yeah. And
When
you
I-
won that one.
But I won it, yeah. I think I was just too
Taking
numb.
that low pass.
I was too numb.
That's cool.
Okay.
The folks in our marketing.
After that, it got a little tougher.
All right.
And I got abused by the Irish, so.
Celebrated? Did you celebrate?
All right.
Didn't have much time. I had my
I was there on
wife,
Saturday.
family
Okay.
members with us and. I mean, I raced and then we went, did all the touristy stuff we had to do, because my wife has never been.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And we ended up in Norway to see her family.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
That
things
was
put
the
together
end of
with,
it, you know.
he is sending me a meeting
Oh, yeah,
invite.
yeah, oh, yeah.
I had the meeting hold, but I didn't have a meeting in Norway.
No, she was born in the States, but all the relatives are
Yeah,
in Norway,
cool.
so.
That's cool.
And we got to go back because we only got like 2 days there and it was not enough. So,
Just like a
yeah,
quick hitter.
it's like everything. I think we only spent like 3 days. I spent 2 days in the countryside of France and 2 days in Paris before we had to move on. And 2 days in Paris is not enough. I mean, we saw the highlights and got to the top of the Eiffel Tower and that was about the end of it, you know.
Totally. Good for you though. I'm so
Oh, yeah.
happy for you.
It's good
Did
stuff.
you,
That's another one
You
off
said
the,
that.
off the bucket list, you know, check that one.
Yeah.
I just scale, man. It's just the
I'll
scale of all
conversation
that
going
stuff.
on.
It's just,
what's happened?
and I was looking at how they were doing things. I just love, the English countryside.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful.
I've never been there, but I would like to go see
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Okay, are you ready to go, Jim?
I am waiting to receive the meeting link.
Okay.
That's fun.
Do we want to skip and come like commissioner comments or something or?
Yeah,
Okay, are you ready or you want a second?
no, I'm still waiting for the.
Okay,
meeting
okay,
links.
yeah, we could. Yeah, we could do that, or we
Or
could
do you
jump
want
to
to move to
the,
the industrial campus?
yeah, we could talk to the career day since we got the superintendent here today.
Hey.
Yeah.
I
You
hear
know,
good
we got
things
the
about
main.
him. Depends on who you talk to, but.
Which
yeah.
hat you're wearing?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll lead off then. I'm very excited to report that we're gonna have a little under 300 students coming down on that day. And 7 school buses and we're moving through the system. So we're fully engaged in this and every student who participates in one of our career technical education courses is being excused from the day to come down and be a part of that process. So we're very excited about it and want to thank both John and Aaron Gardenhire, who is our kind of our point person for revamping our CTE programs across the board. Has just been awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I think, Chair Carpenter, and I want to thank Jeff too, and I want to thank, even Eric's, the companies that we
Yeah.
have. We have about 8 companies. We're trying to keep it in basically 5 of the companies with some other sister companies in there, but also I want to recognize Lock Construction is going to do barbecue for
Awesome.
the kids. So we're going to rotate through every 30 minutes at the campus, and, big shout out to Steve, Mike, and
Yeah.
Jason and their team for taking us on. I mean, that's awesome, and then to all the companies, really the opportunity to, continue to build the workforce and the support within this community, I think is fantastic. And working with the school district around this is, opportunity is unlimited for us, right? And just bringing that awareness and that connection. So we have Locke, Northwest Technologies, M2, McCarthy Manufacturing, the Glazers Union, PGE, Bartlett, Solder Timber, and we'll probably a couple more that we'll add, just to bring awareness around in the park there. But I'm looking forward to it, and I hope everyone, if you can be there that day, we'd love to put you with, I think Terry, team you up with one of the bus groups that will be moving around here. So please, if you can email me your availability, and if you're able to be here, greatly appreciate it for that. So I'm just going to stay at the barbecue spot.
I was gonna say that's
But,
what.
no.
All you can eat. Yep.
So,
That is.
Yeah. I think it's like 270.
275 is
Yeah,
where we're at right
yeah.
now. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
The participation, all
Yeah.
the logistics, because you can't just easily pull that many kids for the day, give them credit and coordinate to the
For sure.
businesses. So both
Yeah.
sides, that is
Thank
just
you.
wonderful news.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all in.
I think too, like one of the impressive things is, 350 the students are signed up with CTE
Yeah.
programs at the high school.
Yeah.
That's an impressive number, and
Yeah.
that's the opportunity to just think about how we build on that and
Yeah.
how we bring the more modernized technology
Yeah.
into the school, connecting that is, you know, the opportunity to expose that and build that relationship strong.
Yes.
So,
Is there a planning group established to go through these logistics? So obviously for my team, that's not my forte, but there's people.
Yeah.
that
I'll be
want
talking with
to
your team,
engage to
with
make
Kim
this
and your
work.
team. Yeah. So I'll
Okay.
come over there and set up some time and maybe even stop. I'm going to just meet with Locke and some of the businesses this afternoon. So I'll swing by there too. But to talk with your team and think about like how many and how would logistically, what works for each company. And then we're going to be thinking about like how we kind of, because when we're bringing them over in buses, first we were working with the school district to make sure on the timing of the school buses and then how we move the kids around through the park too. So.
Yeah, so maybe in that too, giving my team the contacts from the other places.
Yeah.
Just so that they can communicate and work things out that they need to work out. Doesn't
Yeah.
have to like come back to me or come back to this group or whatever else. If they've got a question, they've got a connection they need to make, they can just do it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it all grade levels, Ryan?
Yes, yep, 9th through 12th grade, correct.
Wow, this is exciting.
Yes, very
It's a
much
fun,
so. We're
great
excited
thing.
as well. Yep.
It, will we have a photographer on site?
We talked, so the school will have, their public relations,
We'll be there.
folks
Yep.
there. We're also pushing out the press release. We have a press release that's going out. Well, the city will have, their public relations, Hannah, who they have here, will be out there also. I think the most important thing is like any of the photography with the kids will be through the school because they sign a media release
Sure.
and they have that protocol from there. But I think also like, you know, just be cool to get a drone flight of the kids moving around and some stuff and some pictures, you know, around
Yeah.
that where they're eating. So. I
Yeah,
think
and,
it's-
and for the local businesses, we'll make sure, because our communications team is pretty well trained and, you know, there's times when we'll take pictures of kids' faces for our own usage, but we also do a pretty good job of taking generic pictures that kind of have the backs of kids and it's more generic. And I know we plan to send those out to businesses because they'll want to use those for their websites and other things of that nature too. So, yeah. Yeah.
Is there any thought about a brief survey, just a few survey questions? Because I would really like to know from the students.
Sure.
What kind of impact it made and maybe,
Yeah, it's
you know-
something Aaron and I have talked about, like after they come and do it to get their feedback and then we've also talked about having them, you know, hit so many, you know, like some package, like a 1 page, 2 page, some things they got to learn and report back on it too. And then also to get their feedback, how we improve it from that standpoint. So.
and if the students express particular interest in one of the businesses and maybe want more, would like some follow-up, maybe there would be an interest in those businesses and staying in touch with those kids and trying to build a little relationship.
Yeah, I know, for example, like Steve Locke, they have, you know, kids learning AutoCAD, for example, around that. So that's you know, they can come and learn and continue to go through that program. So yeah, I think that's a great opportunity to provide that awareness to be able to follow up with them to grow in that program.
John, thanks for all the work.
No, thank
that
you too. I mean,
have
we
made
talked to a lot of
stuff.
companies and it's exciting. I mean, it's just really exciting. So
I'll be a floater that day up if that's helpful. to
that's
you.
wonderful.
So-
I figured we'd have you with your pink hat on, hard hat, walking around like,
I was gonna
you
bring a
know,
golf cart.
golf cart. That's a great idea.
So whatever you need, wherever
Yeah.
you need, I'll just
Yeah.
plan on being, so we're 11 to 1, so 10:30 or so.
Yep.
be Outside, so.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Same for me. I'll be
Okay.
there then.
Awesome.
I'm an all in too.
All right. Thank you.
It's great.
I'll be slicing brisket.
Yeah.
Next to me. Yeah.
All right.
The
Gotta get you away from the table.
I don't know if Maggie has got local TV contacts, but it's large enough that they would
Yes.
send a TV crew
We-
out for
We
the.
have,
That's what
we have already reached out to them.
Nice.
We haven't gotten any confirmation yet, but we've already begun that process. And on the day of, we have a system called Flash Alert, which is the system we
Yeah.
use that like tells the news when we're closed for school for
Mhm.
inclement weather. But that is a direct feed
Nice.
with typically our press release on that too.
Mhm.
So we're planning to go full bore. 'cause-
PB would probably even send a
Sure.
local report. on
Yep,
it.
yeah.
Awesome.
Build some momentum for a partnership with Clackamas Community College for a CTE facility out
Yep.
here.
Amen. And,
Yeah.
and many other things.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
We should make sure that this gets noted on our annual report back.
Yeah.
to the
And
council, 'cause This
Yeah.
whole thing came from our little.
Correct.
Yeah.
planning team.
Yes.
the other thing too is, you know, just thinking on the logistics and I need to talk to Melanie and Elena a little bit first, but like, we might even just invite the Clackamas Sheriff's Department out, you know, for like, because those are good career jobs too, but like
sure.
helping logistically too, just from that, but,
Yeah.
you know, so Cindy, maybe that's something I'll reach back to you and we could see if they want to have a, because it, you know, they could see a patrol caller and, you know, it could be like interconnections in there too, from that standpoint too,
Yeah.
so. But I'll be in touch with you on that there too, so, yeah.
For crowd controlling.
I'm all over. I got boots.
Yeah,
It's gonna be busy down there for sure.
cool.
Okay,
Jim,
thank
we
you.
give you enough time there?
I'm on land now. Thank you for the.
Okay.
Yes, in a perfect world, I would have been here.
So at our last
10 minutes
meeting, just to kind of tee this up, we talked about, you know, tourism as a component of the EDC. So we invited Jim, who's a great partner here for the city and for Clackamas County, to come out here and talk about. You have a lot of grants that you're going to, you know, directly give to kind of help us out here in Estacada, right, Jim?
Well, we're opening up a grant cycle.
Okay.
Let's say that. So, we have a process. So yeah, certainly.
Ollie's got to bust his chops for grant funding.
You are tenacious. So, which is good. You want that. All right. You can all hear me in the room. How's it? Is it okay? All right. Thank you. And thank you for your technical assistance. All right. I'm Jim. I'm with the Clackamas County Office of Tourism. I introduced myself earlier, but I'm on the community relations and development side of things. We also do a lot of marketing, which is what a lot of people think when they think of destination organizations. My lovely intro slide. And I'm advancing, I think. Not advancing. More technical assistance. There we go. Thank you. So like I said, with the Clackamas County Tourism Department, we get all of our funding. And again, this was designed to be kind of a one-on-one about who we are and what we do. Happy to come back in another 4 or 5 months with some updated information. We can do a deeper dive on visitor trends, which are changing. We can do a deeper dive on like booking and other things. So happy to do that. Provide an update on some projects that we're working on, but this was intended to just sort of be a 101. 100% of our funding comes from the county's 6% transient lodging tax. It's ordinance 8.02 if you're interested. It was approved by a countywide vote of the people in a special election in June of 1992. Transient lodging taxes are assessed on lodging rental fees collected and incorporated because it was a countywide vote in incorporated parts of the county. And that tax applies to hotels, motels, bed and breakfast, campgrounds, vacation rentals, online travel companies, we call them OTCs, like Expedia, Travelocity, Vacasa, whatever people are using to book lodging. The law states in Oregon that whoever is collecting the lodging fee from whoever is staying there is the person responsible for collecting and remitting it to the various entities. So in the case of OTCs, it's them. They have an account with us, with the finance department, and they remit. And the ordinance also established our Tourism Development Council, which we call just our TDC because government and mouthful of words. But we are all county staff. They are representatives from inside the tourism, recreation, and hospitality industry. They guide our work. We meet with them once a month. And they just provide guidance to us, what we're going to work on. You know, we present options and they say, we want you to pursue this in the marketing world or on the dev side of things. They are actually, I just saw Sean Drinkwine. Sean had been on our TDC for a number of years. I'll get to the TDC slide, but we also have Luke Spencer from Clackamas River Outfitters, who's our current chair. There we go. The TDC is made up of 9 members appointed by our Board of County Commissioners. Luke Spencer, Clackamas River Outfitters, is our chair. Holly Fort Miller, she's a GM for the Best Western River Shore Inn in Oregon City. Tessa Cook, she's the owner of TMK Creamery and Distillery. I don't know if you've ever heard of TMK Creamery and Distillery. They're a creamery. They're in Canby. So that's one of our agritourism partners. We like to have a mix of people on our Tourism Development Council from across the industry spectrum. They're a creamery and they do meat. And they also, this is kind of a first, they use their whey product. It's interesting. I feel like I'm doing a sales pitch, but it's super interesting. They use the whey product and they distill that into like a vodka-like product that gets super high ratings. Very, very silky finish. not inexpensive, but they had to have a special machine made by some folks at OSU to distill their whey product into alcohol. It's pretty interesting. Okay, I'll move on to the rest of our TDC members, so I don't just focus on Tessa, but it's an interesting product. Caden, who owns a couple of hotels under the K10 Hotels brand. Brian Crow, who's the executive director of the Clackamas County Fair and Event Center. Mike Quinn, he's the GM and vice president at Ski Bowl. Amy Barton is a stewardship partner. We wanted a stewardship partner on our board to guide our work. She's with Clackamas River Basin Council. Patrick Dossie is with the Residence Inn in Lake Oswego, and Ryan Tigner, who's the owner and operator of iTrips Northwest, which is a short-term vacation rental management company that's new to the area a couple of years, and the TDC operates, sort of guides our work under a MOU between the BCC and the TDC. I went backwards, didn't I? I did. There are things on here that don't work. I'll just bump that. There we go. Cool. That's one of those stage things where they pop up and keep you surprised. So I'm sure you all know how transient lodging taxes work, but this is a 101 slide. So visitors are assessed the tax as a percentage of their lodging rental fees. Less than 30 days, anything over 30 days is considered just regular. You're just renting property. So anything less than 30 days, they're cumulative because there's a state 1.5%. Then in Clackamas County, there's a county tax, and then cities also have transient lodging taxes. So they're kind of, they just accumulate. Visitors pay them to the lodging entity or the booking provider. And I just put that note down there. Not all cities and not all counties have transient lodging tax programs, but we have Escade as a transient lodging tax. I think you did created one in advance. Yep. Wilsonville, Oregon City, some other ones. Those get paid to the hotels, motels, hostels, whatever. And then they have accounts with the state of Oregon Department of Revenue that collects and distributes the funds for the state transient lodging tax. Finance department acts as the administrator for the county's transient lodging tax program. And then also cities, finance departments can also operators remit the city portion too. There's an option if you're interested. The Department of Revenue will act as your collector because they're already collecting for the state, but they're going to take a cut of it. So depending on how much you're getting, it could be substantial and leave you with a net sort of de minimis amount, just as an FYI. The county, the ordinance also specifies how the county's TRT revenues are distributed. 5% is retained by the operators or booking entities just for administering the tax, collecting it, remitting it, doing that. They're allowed to retain that, cover their business costs for collecting it. 2% goes to county administration for administering the county's transient lodging tax. We have a person in the finance department who's got to keep track of all these, put together the monthly reports and process the bills and process delinquent stuff. So they retain 2%. A set amount goes to the county fair. When it was set up in sound travels through solid materials. When the ordinance was passed in 1992, $250,000 a year annually was set for the county fair and event center because it is the fair and event center for the entire county. And that's been adjusted upwards every year by inflation. It's adjusted by the finance department. So they get that. And then the remainder goes into a special tourism development council fund, and that's used by our department. So it's very isolated funds. It's separate and distinct from general funds. And we operate under a master plan, a set of strategic priorities. I should have updated that slide. We have we update our strategic priorities more frequently, our master plan less frequently. But our mission is to enhance the quality of life for residents by optimizing the economic impacts of the tourism industry derived from the county's transient lodging tax. And our vision, everybody's got to have a mission and a vision statement. Serve as a leading force to grow and sustain tourism in Clackamas County through effective and efficient marketing and asset development strategies, and build strong relationships with businesses, organizations, and other governmental entities. Like I work with John, work with other people who are working in economic development departments. Some of them have someone that's kind of working on tourism, and sometimes it's just folded under economic development. So I can send you an updated, if you're interested in our updated strategies, I can do that after this meeting. We sort of operate under a set of, we call them VERPs. These lenses that we use as we look at everything to support asset recovery and resiliency, enhance assets and experiences, improve accessibility, promote alternative modes of transportation to not exacerbate and actually make better some congestion issues that we had, and provide effective tourism leadership to our community partners who are engaged in tourism efforts and also our industry partners. So our lenses are, we look at things from a visitor perspective, a resident perspective, a partner perspective, and a place perspective to not overburden, overrun a particular area. We don't need to promote Mirror Lake in the summertime. That trailhead is already congested. We don't, so our messages for that is, well, I'll talk about flow later, but it's more like, if you like this, you might like it when it's not busy. Try doing it on a weekday. Try not doing it in peak season. And if you like it, maybe try seeing this instead. If you like floating when it's 105 degrees outside down the Clackamas, maybe don't do it on a weekend when everybody else is doing it, or maybe do these alternative floats that we've identified, so you're not adding to the congestion. So, and residents, we don't want to overburden. We're not quite, there's some destinations that are fully mature and saturated. We don't want to overburden and diminish the quality of life for residents, but we do want to have a positive economic impact to our business partners in the community. So, VERP, sounds cool. Our place in the Oregon Tourism Universe, we're a county destination organization. It used to be called Destination Management Organization or Destination Marketing Organizations. And then it was Destination Management Organizations, as more and more entities like us are working to sort of manage the impacts of visitation on residents and places. And then it was like, are we DMOs? Are we DMMOs? Anyway, we're destination organizations. It's just easier, but we operate within one of Travel Oregon's 7 regions. Travel Oregon is the state's destination organization. They do much more international and coordinating with these regions. These 7 regions are Portland region, the coast, Southern Oregon, Eastern Oregon, Central Oregon. We, the Mount Hood Gorge region, which is where Estacada fits into in one of the 7 regions. As a county, we just happen to sit almost smack in the middle of 3 of those regions. It creates a lot of opportunities for partnerships with partners in those regions to sort of, if someone's in the Portland region, if they're in an urbanized area, and they're looking for urbanized experiences, it's easier for us to like do co-op marketing, work with travel writers and influencers who are coming in to like write itineraries that fit there. So in a way, it kind of works. We have a very urbanized part of area that's in the greater Portland region, which fits with the sort of look, flavor, feel of experiences and opportunities from a visitor's perspective in that area. It's opportunities. It's also a lot of coordination. What we call our mountain region falls in the Mount Hood Gorge, the Mount Hood and Gorge region, which works because it's a lot of recreational opportunities, mountain biking, whitewater rafting, floating, skiing, which is also a lot of the offerings that they have. And then the Willamette Valley, we're about a third, that sort of rural farm country, South County, a lot of agritourism opportunities down there. But that's also what a lot of the offerings that they have in the Willamette Valley region, which goes all the way down to Lane County. So, yep, it's just collaborators. They put together, those regions put together cooperative sort of plans, execution plans for 2 years. They're funded on 2-year cycles, and we're part of developing those plans and making sure that our voice and our priorities are inserted into those 2-year plans, and that we're recognized. And they're not just, so the Willamette Valley region is not just focusing on everything from like Salem on down. It's like you're including Molalla, you're including Canby. So that's a jumble. Those are just I just added some of the logos from some of the partner organizations that we work with on a regular basis: City of Milwaukee, City of Sandy, Travel Oregon, Lake Oswego Chamber. These are all people that we're pinging on a regular basis with to share information, offer opportunities to leverage funding that we have, so they can leverage and maximize the dollars that they have towards those efforts. Also stewardship organizations. It's a lot of coordination, but it's good because I get to know a lot of people, and we're all working together, sort of in the boat, rowing in the same direction as best we can, without being like, no, don't come to Wilsonville, come to Estacada. Nah, don't come to Sandy. You want to come to Molalla. It's like, no, you love us all. We have it all here. Why do we do this? Because we're a county department and we support the Board of County Commissioners' performance goals, which have just updated. I understand, so I'm gonna have to update that slide. It's been a while. I have to add that back, but they've added it back. And also, again, I already mentioned this, to enhance the quality of life for residents and ensure safe, healthy, and secure communities, which is maybe one of the new performance. Those literally just came out like yesterday, I think, right? Yeah, so. And creative.
Still there, you're all.
Pardon me?
The spirit is still there.
The spirit is also there, and create a welcoming, safe and inclusive place for people to visit. So. Like I said, I'm on our development team, but our marketing team is involved in PR and marketing, and they have different tactics, tools and strategies for that. They'll do consumer contests, promoted on social media and on web channels. They'll do crowd stories. We have partnerships with like Coin for some of their morning programs. We've actually done that with Estacada when the corridor reopened up. It's like, the corridor's reopened up. Nothing's really opened up there, but the corridor's opened up, but there's still things to do out in the Estacada area, things to see and do. So sometimes we'll have those paid partnerships. We have our website, very active on social media. Have co-op marketing programs. We're using stuff that I don't know because I'm not on the marketing side. Like SEO, like sometimes we'll do ads and we'll do like A/B testing to find out which ones are getting the most response, and then fine tune things. Sometimes we'll bring in travel writers. I mentioned that earlier. A travel writer or a social media influencer. I don't know if any of you follow a travel writer or someone who's a social media influencer, likes to travel. And if they write about a place, they'll have hundreds of thousands of followers. And if they go to a place and write about it, people have a connection to them. They trust them. It's organic. If a travel writer or a social media influencer comes here, we will sometimes give them a stipend, pay for like bike rentals. If it's a food and wine writer, we may pay for wineries, like a wine to table, like a dinner in a field with an agritourism partner. Vintners. Why am I drawing a blank on this? Anyway, we'll pay for their experiences and they write about it, and then we can use their content, and then they post that content on their on their channels, and sometimes we'll use them for articles. It's cheaper than, it's real and it's authentic, and it's a person that people have a connection with, and it's organic, and it's just, it's like for giving them a little stipend and covering some of their costs to stay here, we get a lot of like really good content for it, trusted content. This is when I said I could come back another time. We haven't finished our 24-25, our year-end wrap-up plan. So these are some of our slides from our 23-24. So that's why I said if we come back in like 4 months, we'll have the information, have an updated year-end slide to share with you. But a lot of these marketing metrics highlights, at least from the strategy, still stick. Peak season, we're promoting peak summer, let's see. Promoting those non-peak seasons, so we call it breaking down the shoulders, right? So it's not just we don't just want people to come here in the winter and the summer, but come here in the fall and the spring and do these other things. Fewer crowds, much more enjoyable experience. Don't go on the weekends, go on the weekdays if you can, shoulder seasons. We also promote safe experiences we have this character called Monty Hood. He's an otter. We had a contest to name him. He's an otter, but then he's sort of our safety, know before you go, Otter Do's ambassador. So it's like, Otter Do's, you ought to do this. If you're gonna go rafting, even though it's spring and it's hot, check the water temp, because it could still be really cold and you're gonna be in that water for a long time. So he's our safety mascot that we use. We also have Sandy Bigfoot, who also shows up in a lot of our marketing stuff. And we use our marketing team for what they do. We have a company called Datafy, which we call kind of our creepy, sexy data, where you can kind of get on an aggregated level, like where people are going. You can geo-fence. We have a lot of points of interest in the county that are geo-fenced, and we can tell where people have been, if they've been there for more than 15 minutes, and then sort of where they go, what other places they go to, not on an individual level. So it's not creepy that you're not actually tracking your cell phone number or your pings, but using that, it captures visitor flow data. We've recently brought on board AirDNA, which is credit card information, Placer AI, which is like Datafy. You can geolocate. It's kind of nice. The partner, the Mountain Gorge region partner that we have, has Datafy, but they can access the same information from Datafy, which is similar to the information that AirDNA has, so we can kind of pull the same reports and kind of compare and be like, which one do we think is the best? Because a lot of those are hard numbers, but it's not every number. It's if somebody has an app that's on their phone and has opted in to share that information, and then there's extrapolations that go on off of that. So Datafy does it one way, Placer AI does it another, and you sort of look into both and go like, we think it's probably the truth lies in the middle here somewhere. So it's nice to have access to all that data. That's where it says Datafy marketing attribution. So we'll use that to sort of sometimes see trends and say like, oh, we see that people are going here, but then a lot of them are going here. We should focus on marketing that, you know, if it's happening organically, we can elevate it by putting a little effort behind it. And doing partner promotions through we have a marketing co-op program where we offer discounted print and digital ads for our industry partners in Travel Oregon's Visitors Guide, Facebook, Facebook and Instagram. That's on a rebate, but it's like up to anywhere from up to 50% to 75% discounted rates where we're covering the delta of the full cost of it, and then offering it as a rebate or just paying for it, and we bill them and they pay us. So this slide was again from our previous year-end report, but this just talks about that sort of that flow, a little bit about the flow where we're trying to like disperse across. You know, it's tough to get, like, we need to get more people out to Molalla. We need to get more people out to Estacada. So what can we do to give a little extra love, do some extra stories, extra content, extra engagement about things to see and do in communities. And then on the development side, the bottom part of this, my counterpart, Aaron, he'll go to trade and travel shows. He'll go to IPW, which stands for International Powwow, but they don't say International Powwow anymore, but it's the largest travel trade show in the US for inbound operators. So trying to get product that will work with, like, you know, Luke saying, do you have something you can offer, like a discount package? What they do is they take deals and they bundle them into catalogs. People in Europe tend to travel a lot more, use booking agents or travel agents. And so there's this buying chain of, you know, if somebody offers something for a discount, be it a recreation operator, a lodging operator, a museum, you know, you can set the terms, these months to these months, I can offer this much of a discount, and that gets, you know, put into a catalog, and then hopefully some tour operator will buy that and create it like either bundles that free independent travelers can buy or sell them to tour operators that's group travel. Last year, Aaron, my counterpart, got 14 contracts signed with some of our partners, with tour operators. So that's pretty good. That's just, they're always there. It takes a lot because you have to convince people that it's worth it and it's a long-term investment, but then it just is this residual thing that just sort of happens. On the destination development side, again, our side, we support partner trainings. We'll send people to that. We put on an annual agritourism summit. This last year, we had our 9th agritourism summit. It's tough to be an agritourism operator. There's laws in Oregon about exclusive farm use land, things you can do. Can you do special events? Can you do weddings? Can you do wine tastings? Other things. So we just hold this summit sort of as sort of a resource to help them sort of navigate that. We offer free Google ad trainings and other trainings to our partners. We started doing accessibility trainings for people to understand the little extra care and thought that needs to go into making your place or your site or your facility a little more welcoming to people with mobility issues. And it's not just mobility issues, but it's also, there's something called our staff just took it. It did not take a lot of time, but it's sunflower training. It's teaching people how to spot and sort of react to and adjust to when people are traveling by themselves or with children who have neurodivergent needs. So sometimes you need to give them a little extra space. There's an airport, I forgot what it is. But they have a special room where people can go if you're just feeling overstimulated, where you can just be in a dark, just to calm down, cool your jets. So we offer registration, scholarships and sponsorships to trainings. Every year there's the Governor's Conference on Tourism. We're sending a couple of partners to the Oregon Main Street Conference this year who are Main Street operators. Sometimes we work with chambers, sometimes we work with city act dev departments, sometimes we work with Main Streets. Some of those Main Street programs they're all nonprofits, but they don't really have a lot of money to go to conferences. So it's like, hey, we have the resources. Can we help you go to this? It helps, it helps train you and make you better able to execute the program goals that you've got set up. Oregon Parks and Rec has a Heritage Summit. There's the Oregon Recreation Outdoor Rec Summit. It's happening this year in October in Sun River. We're actually doing a presentation with county parks about how to that alternative floats. It's how to tackle working in collaboratively with partners to tackle complicated problems like how do you affect those crazy crowds on the road into Barton Park when it's high float season. Well, we did the alternative floats page and we put up a live camp so people can see it. And then we did a little QR code so the rangers can come out and flags, people can snap a QR code and get people out of the line. It's like, oh, I can see now I can go up here. So it's reduced the amount of traffic congestion on that road during the high float season. Took a lot to try to figure that out. I don't think we're ever going to fully get it, but at least we've mitigated it somewhat, help do that. We look at that as part of our goal again, to try to mitigate some of those problems. And honestly, those floaters aren't really visitors. Visitors are legally defined in state statute as people who come from more than 50 miles away to stay for lodging, business, or to stay for business, pleasure, arts, heritage, culture. Most of the floaters, those are it's a regional asset, but it's like still we can use our tools to and our messaging and our channels to help get that word out. So we do. We do things like familiarization tours. We just call them FAM tours. We've done 4 in the past 2 years. I'm behind schedule to get the next one done. What a FAM tour is we will rent a small motor coach bus. We'll create an itinerary for a portion of the county, and we'll invite people from visitor information centers, Travel Oregon's visitor information center at the airport, Travel Portland's visitor information center downtown, frontline staff at hotels, concierges, chamber staff. If a chamber has a visitor center, we'll be like, hey, we're gonna do a FAM tour. If you can spend the day, come with us. We have an itinerary. We're gonna go visit a bunch of partners. Usually it's a heritage partner. Sometimes it's an agritourism partner, a rec partner, a winery, and just, we've gone to Pat's Acres, we've gone up to Timberline, we've been to wineries. The thought behind FAM tours is we have a newsletter that we encourage our partners to sign up for, and you can bombard people every week with a newsletter. Or a couple of times you can invest some time and money, put together a nice itinerary for a day for them to actually go out and do it. It's kind of operates off the theory of a picture's worth 1,000 words, but an experience is worth 1,000 pictures. If somebody's went and done it, they're more likely to go like, oh, if you're going out here, you should do this because this is fill in the blank is awesome, right? It's familiarization tours. And then we offer event sponsorships. In the past 2 years, I think that counts wrong. I think it's like 28, but 28 small community event sponsorships in the past 2 years. We have an online form. We're sponsoring what are we doing? Oh, I just got one and just approved for the Fungus Festival this year. So we gave them a cash event to help put on the event. And then I also gave them just a straight $200 credit towards our digital marketing program to help get the word out. So our staff can help with that and write that. So that's good. And then we also, John mentioned it earlier, we are about ready to launch the 4th cycle of our strategic investment program. We'll have $500,000 for big projects, strategic projects intended to be some kind of experiential thing, something to do, a new trailhead, a dock, maybe an ADA, maybe a dock with ADA accessibility for people who have personal watercrafts, but just need a little extra design around the dock so they can get in and out of like a kayak safely. We re-roofed the roof of the Mark Perry schoolhouse roof. There's a tree collapsed on it during a snowstorm. There's been like 13 projects over the last 2 cycles for a total of $818,000 for projects. We gave, prior to us launching the strategic investment program, then the National Forest Foundation came to us and they're like, hey, the Forest Service has extra money. The way the federal government works is if you get money and you don't use it, it just gets thrown into the washing machine and then reprogrammed again the next year. And they're like, they've got the Clackamas Ranger District, Mounted National Forest has some leftover funds, but not enough to do. This was still when everything was closed. You could drive to Detroit out here, but there's literally nothing open, no day use areas, no campsites. They're like, we've got this much money we can use, but we need like $150,000 more so we can reopen Rainbow Campground and reopen the Riverside Trail. And that will prevent that money from just getting thrown back in the Forest Service's washing machine and being rebudgeted. And we're like, to open up a campground, to be the first opened up campground after all the fires, we're on board. That was technically outside of our SIP. It would have been, we kind of got that one through on like a but for timing thing, but it made sense because we were going to lose that opportunity. So again, we're looking to partner with partners and leverage opportunities, or if it's last money in to secure something. Bumpity bump. This is a little out of order. Sorry, but again, this is the B2B, the business to business and the business to consumer travel trade show. Again, my colleague Aaron goes to the Vancouver Outdoor Adventure Show every year. Goes to IPW. He went to the LA Consumer Outdoor Show. And that's the Canadian this year, the Canadian Outdoor Adventure Show. That's a B2C, so business to consumer. It's a little tougher this year to try to get, there's some hesitation from Canadians to travel, but it's still a drive market for us. So it's still worth investing in. Marketing support, I talked out of order. Sorry, it's more organic, but again, marketing support, print and digital co-op marketing, free calendar of events, and all of those. We're the Office of Clackamas County Office of Tourism is our technical name, but we're branded as Oregon's Mounted Territory because you're like, hey kids, how'd you like to go to Clackamas County? They'd probably be like, I don't know. I was gonna do all those chores you wanted me to do, but so more visitor facing is Oregon's Mounted Territory. And then we have two websites. One of them is visitor facing, which is Mounted Territory. And then down at the bottom, if you go to partners, that's where like our funding opportunities are, our reports, our forums where you can upload information about events to get put onto our online calendar, put in a request to get event sponsorship funding. And that's all there. And what I've given you is some of the collateral that we've done recently. This is our 2025 travel planner. It's a lot of stories. Our mode is inspiration and imagery is very inspirational for travel. You're trying to inspire people to look into booking a travel. Sometimes you'll see travel planners that are just like the back third of it or quarter of it is literally just a business listing. It's like, I can find that on a phone book if a phone book still exists, or I can just find information about a restaurant by finding it. What we're trying to do with our travel planners is inspire people to travel, or at least inspire them to look into booking travel. So it's more of an inspirational piece. And then there's a little card we did. So it's we're trying to promote, there's the Mount Hood Express, and now they have the shuttle that comes out here from the SAM shuttle that comes from Sandy. So it's like, you can come here. You don't necessarily have to have a car. It is a tough destination to visit without a car, but we're trying to promote it because we're trying to mitigate some of that traffic congestion if we can. You can theoretically land at PDX with your ski gear or snowboard gear, take Max out, take Sam, take the Mount Hood Express and go all the way to Timberline and ski and never need a car, and then use the local, like the Mount Hood shuttle to get around. So that's a little rat card we did for that. Our things to do, we update every now and then. So it's our things to do map. We update this every year. And then this Clackamas River Recreation Outdoor Map is something that we partnered with Travel Oregon on. We matched some of their funds and they created it for us through one of their vendors. So we also have one for the Molalla River. And where's that? Somebody also has the bike map. We worked with our office, the county's Office of Transportation, to develop that bike map. That was an update. I think the last one was like 6 years ago. So just some examples of some of the collateral that we put together, and then some of the collateral that we put together in partnership with other partners. Part of it's inspiring travel, giving people information, to help them book the travel, giving them information while they're here. So it's kind of throughout the life cycle of visitation. That was, yeah, that was old visitor information stuff, so. I'd have to update our, yeah, I can come back if we wanted to do an updated visitor profile study. I will say that COVID hit us hard. We actually shut down, completely shut down. All of our staff got laid off. Things kind of started to recover within a year, but it took about 2 years to fully recover from COVID. Things are changing now, which is why maybe some of that updated information in another couple of months, there's some data lag that comes in. But some of the conversations that are coming out of DC and inflation and tariffs, bookings are down internationally, and inflation is affecting like fewer people, domestic sort of leisure travelers are thinking twice about their visitation plans. They're booking later. They're looking for deals. When we recovered from COVID, a lot of that was based on high ADRs, average daily rates, and those have remained high. It's partly an inflationary factor. But right now, in general, because of overall inflation, demand is softening, and average daily rates for our lodging partners are going down. And when that's layered on with some of the reductions in international, we're just kind of waiting to see. We saw our first sort of dip back down in our last transient lodging tax report, which is really the most solid number we get because it comes from the finance department, but it's sort of a 2-month lag from when because they got to send reminders and then it's whoever remits. So we're starting to see things turn down, and yeah, we're gonna see where that goes and rethinking what we focus on in terms of promotion. We don't want to offer it up as just, we don't want it to be a race at the bottom. Like, oh, come here, it's cheap, it's discount, because that's not good for our partners. And we don't want to diminish the level of quality, sense of quality about the place. But at the same time, you want to do it just enough to like keep people coming. So it's an interesting time. Not as interesting as COVID, but we're adjusting and looking at it. That was all very random, but if you have any questions, I've got some updates too.
Jim, you had mentioned that the overall market is soft right now, and you said it's, inflationary.
Mhm.
Does some of that connect back to, Oregon not rating high on the place to do business or safety and things like that? Does that connect with whether people are feeling motivated to come and spend time here?
I don't think that the business environment isn't affecting visitors decisions or hesitancy. I think it's mostly economic and inflationary. But with us being so close to Portland, we have when things were at their worst, there was definitely if you're going to come here, unless you're going to drive here, yeah, you're coming into Portland International Airport. Oftentimes people don't just come to, like if you travel internationally, or we went to Missouri and Kansas and, Wisconsin like last year. It's usually you land somewhere and it's a hub and spoke kind of situation where you go out. But we did wrestle with some of the negative perceptions when things were really bad in Portland. That's diminished significantly, but it's probably still a factor for some people.
Okay.
You separated residents from visitors when you talked about Barton. How did the data on the number of residents traveling around our state compare to the number of visitors coming to our state? Is the number of residents who actively travel within Oregon up or down? What's the trend for that?
For that, that's a very good question. I'm not savvy with how to manipulate the Datafy data, but you can separate out like where they're from. So that might be maybe we have some questions. If we do this in like another 4 or 5 months, have some questions about maybe 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we did a presentation to the city council, and it was sort of more data focused, like visitor trends and some of the Datafy information. But I think that would be interesting information for you all to have And in another couple of months, when things sort of shake out, we get a better picture of it. Maybe we could get some questions from John and I could have Lizzie or whoever. We're looking to hire a new person. Lizzie's used to manage the Mounted Gorge Region program in our department. She's now our executive director. So sort of her ability to do, run reports and like look at things in Datafy is different, but maybe we could come up with some questions that are Estacada specific and then larger picture and come back with some information. If that work. But with the Datafy, like Barton Park, if you can pick a day and I don't know what the numbers are, but it was the people from more than 50 miles away who are driving to Barton, spending 15 minutes to blow up their big inflatable pizzas and, load up their food and float down. And then float down to Carver. You can track them. It's like, oh, there's all these people. It's like the zip codes they come from. They're mostly all people from within the close-in Portland metro area because they know about it. So.
Could I ask a couple of definition questions?
Yes,
to follow
absolutely.
on?
If I did acronyms, you should have a quarter jar up here just for every meeting.
No, that's okay. I live in a world of that too. Yeah, that's not a problem. I was curious, you had kind of hunkered in on the defining the difference between a visitor. You used the terminology of floater, which I think you're also defining even now as the blow up pizza example. But as our commission kind of brainstorms innovative opportunities to capture the difference between a visitor and a tourist or someone who travels over 15 miles or whatever, I would assume based on those definitions, then Estacada, because of our inability, you defined someone who lodges and stays as a defining person for your stats. And so I would imagine I'm assuming we're at a disadvantage statistically because of our inability to meet some of those thresholds that you define as a visitor or a tourist or et cetera.
It just means that we put extra effort we try to promote all of our parts of the county equally.
Okay.
So it just means like, when COVID, Estacada was at a real disadvantage. COVID recovery kicked in. That road didn't open up for another year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
So when it did open up, we were like, it's open, but there's no Deus areas and a lot of the forest is still closed, but there's still stuff to do. I'm drawing a blank out. Our marketing people are deep in this, but it's like other things to see and do. And then we also do our seasonal, like buy local, shop local in partnership with chambers.
I guess I'm asking more specifically around the data and how we interpret the data as if we're on the right path or not. And so are we disadvantaged from a data perspective as we look at overall tourism in Estacada because we don't necessarily offer some of the things that you might mark as people coming here for tourism because we don't meet those thresholds?
Yeah, I think if you were to pull the numbers
If you
there.
compare us to Sandy and Estacada, when we look at tourism, does Sandy have advantages because you track that data differently because they have hotels and other types of things, which might show that we're not doing well in tourism because we don't have those things based on your definitions?
Yeah.
We don't have the data points you're measuring to look at whether it's. a
That's what my
success.
point. Thank
Yeah,
you.
well,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
visitors are just. Visitors are.
Yeah.
By statute, it's people who, it's over 50 miles away, but the Datafy is just, we can go like here, if you have an event or something, we can pick a date and then compare that a few years back and then pick out like people from more than 5 miles out, people from more than
Right.
10 miles out. So we can through Datafy as best we can, because some of those have those algorithms in there.
Yeah.
We can still look at it, but if you're comparing yourselves in terms of results,
Yeah.
if you're comparing yourselves to Sandy or some of the mountain, like government camp, at any given time, probably 95% of the people in government camp are visitors. They don't live there. No, they're not from there. So I guess if you're looking at the numbers, I'd say this is your data set and this is the reality you're working in. And don't unfairly compare yourselves to I think Sandy gets a bump also because so many people stop in Sandy because it's just a pass through. It's like somebody stops and gets gas on a burrito, it's a 15-minute stay, so they get a ping.
Yeah.
The data's,
Go ahead. I
You
have a
kinda-
couple follow-ups, but I'll let Commissioner Sale go next.
Jim, we're looking at doing a hotel study in Estacada to see if that's something that's necessary here. Is there things in your data and your information that would help us answer that potential question or contribute to our study?
yes. I think we'll talk to, because I did know that you were interested
Yeah.
in a hotel study.
I think,
So,
you know, we'll pull the Placer AI data, we'll pull that, but I like your guys, Ryan's point and then Eric's, and one of the things is that Jim and I've talked a lot around the hotel study data, but like one of the things that I think is important in our study is like business visits, right? And that's probably not being like, so one of the things that we see is like at the Glaziers Union out here, right? They'll send folks up here for 2 weeks, but there's not a hotel here for them to stay.
Yeah.
And so collecting that type of data, Eric has folks that come up to the, you know, to your business out here. We're not capturing that data, right? We might see there's a trip person that comes through here, but like understanding the demand that we have for people visiting our businesses and especially in an industrial park, that's an important data number, that data point I think that we need to consider. And it kind of takes me back to thinking about like on your FAM tours, like, is that something like, once we get our hotel study, like, I'm thinking about like, you know, you want to be able to market to, you know, certain hotel operators. Would that be something that Mount Hood Tourism would maybe think about, like how we could maybe promote that in the future for attracting hotel operators here too? I'm just planting that
Attracting-
seed too,
yeah,
you know,
if there was a hotel, we could definitely, and
because I think
Aaron?
when folks, you know, like if you're a hotel operator, you're gonna pull the Placer AI data, but when you look at like, oh, I got this many people visiting the industrial park and staying here, right? And then if you do a FAM tour and you come up and you see like, as a hotel operator in my past life, the business I work for, we own hotels too. So when you look at that, you're like, oh, wow, I got people visiting, but also got business people here too, right? So seeing that, but making that awareness instead of just pulling the Placer AI number, right? I think that's important to think about. So
yeah.
how could we promote that in
Well,
the
I
future?
think, I think
too?
I think part of what we're getting at is trying to get some data that might not be findable, lack of a better word. through
Just
the-
looking at more of a micro level in our business community,
Yeah.
what's happening in the
But if
business
you-
community, and then
like
probably
you-
even in the high schools with tournaments and stuff, they're a little bit
Yeah.
there.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
maybe-
and
Oh,
and-
sorry.
No, that's okay. Because I appreciate your communication on this, because one of the things that always reflects in the lower levels of Estacada and its income and revenue source is tourism. And the community is always saddled with the complex conversation of how do we boost tourism
Yeah,
in order to gain outside revenue. And what's educational to me in this conversation is better understanding how you define what a tourist is. Because during hunting season, we're a mecca. During floating season, we're a mecca. There's different seasons where we have an influx of what I would consider to be tourists, but it doesn't necessarily reflect from the data perspective of what technically constitutes a tourist, is kind of how I hear this. And it's more informational for me in terms of how we can really target how to improve tourism by hitting the actual boxes that constitutes a tourist. And so I do appreciate that. And this slide that you have here at the end was the most impactful to me of your presentation, because I can see where the most bang for our buck is. And so as this committee really looks at hotel studies and lodging studies, you can see here that having a hotel brings in the biggest bang for its buck when it comes to attacking some of the tourist issues that we're working through. And so I appreciate that, as well as to see that the majority of people who come into the zone that you're describing come for food and drink. And that's one that's important to me, as well as we think about how to actually market towards the tourists. I have one final question.
Yeah.
And that is, the people who are mentioned in all of these pamphlets and flyers, with the exception of what I would assume to be governmental entities, do these private people have to pay to play to get into these books? Or is this things that, I don't know, you rode around a bike once and said, this is cool, this goes in here? Or are these people actually giving you money to be a part of these programs?
No, when we do, so our travel planner is put together by our marketing team, and we've had the same marketing team for years. We're always trying to, no, they don't pay to play to be in this. What we're trying to do is find things that are distinct, would likely be of interest and be inspirational to visitors.
Yeah.
And that are regularly open. An example, some of our heritage partners, right? They're open 4 hours Friday and Saturday for 4 hours, 4 months out of it's that's really a tough
Right.
thing to promote,
Yeah.
right?
No, I got,
yeah.
let me give you kind of a specific example. So I see so many great breweries that a tourist could attend, but I don't see time travelers in there. Is that because you determined, not you, but your team determined and or judged that that wasn't something, or
Yeah,
how did that get?
I don't think time travelers made it in this one because I think they were in the prior one, but they were looking at selling and then someone else bought it. So we weren't sure. You can't put something in that's going to have a
Okay.
year's evergreen content and have someone look it up and have it not be there. So that's why time
Yeah,
travelers.
and
is
I
not in there, yeah.
completely understand that,
Yeah.
and that's a perfectly acceptable answer. So you would put in all breweries that exist inside this unit if you felt like they were stable, consistent, open regularly, or are you picking and choosing ones that?
It's curated, but it's a balance of trying to get coverage for all of the communities and balancing out between different partners. When we put this together, we used to work with the chamber. Our content team will send out the last travel planner and say, do you have any suggestions for your community's portion of our travel planner in the next one? So we reach out to whoever in the past it had been the chamber and they were they're good at that. Now John's our connection. So I'd probably reach out to John when
Sure,
they
yeah,
do that
and-
again. We have we also have a larger co-op for our community partners to get a half-page section in Travel Oregon's 2026, and it's like if you can buy it, we're covering 50% of the cost. You can load it up with all the events, or you can have somebody sipping wine with a nice view, and you can make it very simple. But this is curated, so again, it's not just a laundry list of like things. It's inspirational. They tried to balance it out between different partners and also put our travel planner together with input from our local community, what we call our tourism leads.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that.
Jim, just briefly, you mentioned Datafy, but who were the other data provider you mentioned?
We're using the Mountain Gorge region has Placer AI.
Placer.
We have Datafy. And then there's AirDNA, and I'm not, but we've just signed a contract with Symphony, which is kind of an aggregator and is able to sort of pull all of that together in one thing. So we're just exploring how that is. And then we get through Travel Oregon, because it's expensive to we get countywide and region-wide information from Travel Oregon, from Smith Travel Research and Dean Runyon. And those numbers get updated. And I think they're using like Visa View and some other stuff, but they don't that we can talk to them about buying into it because it's expensive data. Data's expensive to get like zip code information. But right now it's usually just county by county, and then there's 7 regions.
Yeah.
So you're kind of looking at it and going like, well, what do I really believe? Sometimes you'll get something out of Datafy and share with an agritourism partner, and they're like, there is no way we get that many visitors on blah 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 blah. It's like, let's look into that. Oh, it's a school. It's a bus stop or something. It's like, okay, you guys need to take that out of your data. That's throwing things way off. So, but
Any other questions?
it's the best. Yeah, it's the best we have. So
I've got one final one.
Yeah,
As
sure.
we say thank you for giving this great presentation, and thank you, Mr. Lagarza, for continuing to bring people to us to help educate us on what's more important. Since I will consider you a quote unquote expert in this,
okay.
what would you recommend would be the next best move Estacada could do in order to improve its tourism and visitors?
I think because John's new, it had been the chamber taking the lead and you're talking about doing a tourism, like a tourism study?
Yeah. we're talking about
Yeah.
tourism study. I mean, right now, Noble Consulting is contracted, and they might be listening in here too, doing tourism and the SEO and that out pushing at that. But I think really thinking to the point of, you know, I love the conversation, like how do we promote tourism? You know, because you kind of see where Mount Hood is, you know, they do the regional, right? So how can we be as a city promoting tourism, and what does that look like to be able to really market our community even more to that standpoint? And what's that going to take, you know?
I think that,
So I always hit Jim up for grant funding too, so. you know.
Yeah, keep doing that.
But you know, one of the things is interesting, like I saw that, you know, B2B, like, you know, some of the conferences and, you know, do we have some of our outdoor people, or like, how do we get them there, and how do we promote the, you know, part of the Clackamas and some of these, you know, you look at, we have so much potential with capture. What we've seen in other areas is, you know, Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, you know, and then like, I like even David's question and, you know, the migratory that you get, like how many people would come up here for fishing and outdoors, and how do you promote to, like, you know, Southern Oregon or to Eastern or Idaho or Montana hunting, you know, where do you draw that, and what is that kind of the strategy? Be interesting to see what the movement is, you know, in this area, and we can get that data to kind of see like how many folks are coming to Estacada and what's their distance, right? And then thinking about like, how do you outreach like Boise, or, you know, what are some of those target markets to be able to really be a little bit more identified to, you know,
Right.
if you're coming from Bend, how do you get someone to come over and spend a day or spend a night here?
Yeah,
Right? So,
exactly. Go ahead.
this was gonna be in my updates section, but I think two things that are on the horizon that would be great. We're gonna have a meeting with the city
Yeah.
on the 24th. We kind of came up with this. Travel Oregon has their competitive grant cycle coming up, or no, they have their recreation ready program, which can be up to $100,000 to be put towards a project to be completed. And we saw this and we're like, Metro's brought the last chunk of land that could complete the Cas Trail alignment. So they have that. There's a bridge that needs to be built. Travel Oregon has their recreation ready that could help with like phase one of that. So we came up with this when we saw the recreation ready grant program. Travel Oregon kind of cycles around between like what kind of grant programs they offer, but we're like, and then we're like, oh man, right before COVID, Metro bought that last sort of that gap chunk of land. Having the Cazadero Trail, the trail that came in here goes, you know, like that would be a huge thing. So we're having a meeting on the 24th. I can't make it, but my colleague Aaron's going to be there to find out like who's on what. Metro, since you actually own most of the land, where are you? Are you ready to move on this? Because we could put in a grant application for Travel Oregon and get $100,000 to start working towards phase one of like the alignment or the design phase of that would be huge. The waterfront, if you had lakefront access, and I know this is on the city's radar screen, where people can get down to this flat water, that would be great. It's closer to downtown. You
Yeah,
could have a connection between the
for
river
sure.
and here, and also, then this is only, one other thing. Up the river in the Upper Clack, the National Forest Foundation got some money from they're like the nonprofit sister organization to the US Forest Service. They can raise money for projects, and they also get money from the Forest Service, like we did when we redid Rainbow Campground and Riverside Trail. They've got money to reopen, I think it's like 7 or 8 campsites and day use sites in the Upper Clack in the next 5 years. So they're working on this. We help them with some outreach, and it's like, what do people want to see when they do a new, if they do new campgrounds, what are amenities? So those are going to open up in the next like 4 years, which is going to be great. So then it's just the people who are coming here and, grabbing gas and going to Harvest Market and getting food. Once you get some more flow through here, then it's like stop and stay. So between the CAS, the waterfront, and then the next 4 years, things are going to open up.
Yeah.
I think you can, if you're going to put a hotel study, I've got one more thing on the hotel study, but also in 2027, the World Disc Golf Championships are coming to Milo
Yes.
MacGyver. So
Yeah.
we wrote a letter of support for the operators for that. And then we have it in our calendar to work with them. So when that happens, maybe maybe it's a sponsorship where we get things to see and do, or some kind of like rack card in the packets for people who are here to promote things to, don't just hang out a Milo, like come into Escada and do things. So.
Yeah. So we need a hotel by 2027 is what I'm.
But I think, I think the thing to do with, there's Datafy data, which is good because it came from somebody who has some system, so it's substantiated, some kind of anomalies notwithstanding. But if you can get information from like the Glazers, like it's how many people they bring in and when, and just like we've talked to this partner and talked to the partners to get numbers from them. The thing about hotel lodging data is we get generalized, highly aggregated level. Hoteliers are very proprietary about their numbers. So you're not going to be able to go to the hotels that are in the 205 corridor and be like, how many people are, the Glazers Union is probably going to tell you how many people they put up, but you're not going to get that information from
Right.
a lodging partner.
Thank you. And so what I hear to my question is we need to find creative grants to apply for in partnership so that we can expand more options for tourism.
Yeah.
Does that
And we'll
summarize
continue.
that?
Yes. And then we, like Travel Oregon promotes the entire state. We do spend time promoting the territory, but we also have these separate sections where we're highlighting our communities, because all of our communities are unique and distinct from each other and have different things to offer. So.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just one last comment to close formally, just so the group knows and the audience that's watching too. Your shop has been a huge partner of Office of Economic Development for Clackamas County for many years. And I just really appreciate you being here today to share what communities can do to encapsulate those opportunities. Because, you just think of tourism as something you do. You just go there and you just do it and you have that experience and you leave. It means something to the community that you're in. It means something to the community that is hosting you. And the better we can make these connections like you did today, it's just really much appreciated. So thanks for
Well,
all you
thank you.
do.
And John's really good at pinging. So it's just kind of frequent pinging. It's like, hey, I want to float this. It's like, we can't do that. But maybe we can do that. Okay, that's interesting.
That's how it starts.
That's how it starts.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
I have in my notes to sort of, if you like, I can have our marketing team, maybe since COVID, because that's more relevant, or in the last couple of years, just pull past content.
Yeah.
That's just been Estacada focused, so you
Yeah,
can have
that'd be helpful.
look, flavor, feel, and then
Yep.
let me know if you want us to come back with and dive more into like visitor profiles and data
Yep.
in another few months.
Sounds
It'll
good.
be fresher, newer, and more enlightening or more depressing, depending on how things go. I don't know.
Either way, we got to handle it. So thank you.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, moving on to commissioner comments. Want to go down the horn? Mr. Gerst, do you have anything? No? Mr. Cross? Okay, Mrs. Moore?
I do.
Awesome.
You may have seen this already in public announcements, but the Clackamas County Office of Economic Development does have a grant open right now for business development. So these are for traded sector companies, those who produce goods and services and sell them outside of the local region. It's up to $100,000 to support those endeavors, and also any workforce development opportunities that you might have could qualify as well. More information on the County Economic Development website. So www.clackamas.us/business. Thank you.
Cindy?
Mr. Sale?
Nothing for me.
Okay.
I have nothing. So.
Okay, just,
You got, yeah, go
I
ahead.
just wanted, heads up, I do see people using the SAM in the industrial park, the bus.
Great.
And so that's been a good added thing. So that's great. That's,
Awesome.
yeah.
That's
So
exciting.
thank you.
That's awesome. And Mr. Legarza,
I'm-
any additional updates?
That's it. Thank you so much, everyone
Okay.
today. Excited for seeing everyone next week. So
Here we
thank-
go.
Yeah.
Awesome. I have nothing either, so that concludes.
Thank you.
Cindy, for that grant,